Hi everyone, and welcome to Eric's Electronics Workbench. So this is a follow-up video to this power inverter, so I'll post a link to the first video in the description below. If you haven't seen that original video, you might want to check that out as well. So I spent some time going through this power inverter after posting that first video, and I've discovered a few things, so I'll share those with you. So up on this top circuit board, there are 4 integrated circuits. These 3 integrated circuits right here are type UA747D. They're an op-amp. There's actually several op-amps in the package. And then this small integrated circuit right here is the very common NE555 timer. Now something that I noticed is that when this inverter is first turned on, there's a second click that you hear. It's very faint and it's hard to pick it up on camera, but there's a very small relay right under here. It's a hermetically sealed type relay. And this circuit board is connected to this relay down here. So the turn-on delay is maybe, I would say about 2 seconds or so. It's pretty short. And of course, this is the main relay here for the main power switching. So the wires on this relay are much smaller. They're just the size of these wires that you see running around here. So I'm not sure exactly what that turn-on delay is for, because when the inverter is first turned on, the output seems to come up immediately. So again, the delay itself, I'm not exactly sure how that's being used, because I don't see any functions in the inverter that are delayed slightly, but nonetheless there is some kind of a delay going on, and this relay clicks just a little bit after the initial power turned on. So I'm sure that this NE555 timer is being used for that delay. Now these op-amps up here, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they're being used as comparators, and I think this circuit board is probably some type of protection. We already can see right here there's a cable with these 2 wires right here goes over to a temperature sensor right there, and perhaps they're using maybe some comparators in here for voltage sensing, maybe under or over voltage sensing, things like that. I'm not exactly sure. Again, I don't know exactly all the functions of this board, but we can see there certainly is something going on with temperature and some kind of a time delay. There's also 2 adjustments right there on the board. The adjustments aren't labeled, so I have no idea what they actually do. Now, this circuit board doesn't seem to be connected in any way to the SCRs. So there's 2 SCRs that do the main switching. One's right here on the heatsink, and the other's kind of buried over on the other side. And the SCRs have to be turned on with a gate turn-on signal. But this circuit board doesn't seem to be doing any of that. In fact, I don't see any oscillation or anything going on up here that would be running the inverter at that 60 hertz frequency. So again, this all seems to just be sort of a control, maybe a protection type circuit going on up here. Possibly a voltage regulator right here as well. Now, this circuit board right here seems to be where the oscillator and the SCR gate signals are coming from. And this circuit board is actually quite simple in how it's connected into the inverter. There's one wire right here, and this wire, if we follow it back, it's tied to this power resistor down here, and it ultimately goes up to this relay and to this circuit board. And this is the power to this circuit board. It has about 14 volts on it. The inverter operates on 28 volts, but they're putting just 14 volts on here. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if there's a fault. It probably just removes this voltage, which is powering this board, and then the whole inverter would shut down. So again, just a guess. I don't know exactly for sure, but it just seems logical that that's probably what's going on. Now, nonetheless, this circuit board right here has one adjustment on it right there. And there's also 4 wires that are on the back side over here. They're hidden behind this circuit breaker. But those 4 wires are the wires that go to the gates on the SCRs. So what they're doing is there's a wire, they're shielded cables. One wire goes to the gate, the other wire goes to ground, and then they've just brought them through a shielded cable, and then the shield is brought off to another terminal here. So there's actually 5 terminals on the side of that board. So if we go back one step, this transformer here and this transformer here, those are the gate drive transformers, and then one step back, this device here and this device, those are both IRF 330s, which are N-channel hex FETs. And then if we go one step back, this looks to be the oscillator right here. So knowing that this board certainly is driving those SCRs, I went ahead and tried to adjust this trimmer potentiometer right there, because the frequency was a little bit low and also the voltage was a little bit low. So I just gave it just a tiny turn. Thought I could always reset it back, and in no time at all it brought the frequency right up to 60 hertz. So that was really nice to see. It clearly affects the frequency, and it makes sense that this would be the oscillator in that frequency. When the frequency came up, the output voltage came up as well, and that also makes sense that that would happen. So now the output voltage is actually about 119 volts under no load, and then when I put a 300 watt load on the inverter, it dropped down to about 117 volts. So this is rated to have 115 volts output, and it probably falls to that at full load. So things are looking very good. I'll power it up and I'll show you that on the scope meter over there in just a second. So these 3 devices right here, these 3 integrated circuits, one of them is a CD406N UBE. That's a CMOS hex FET inverter. One of them is a CD4013BCN. That's a D-type flip-flop. There's several flip-flops in that package. And the third device is a CD4001BCN. That's a quad 2 input NOR gate. So it looks again like some inverter circuitry going on right here. And I was pleased to see when I put the output on the oscilloscope over there, it's very stable. It's not exactly a pure sine wave. It looks more like a square, kind of a rounded off square wave. And I think that's why this buzzes so loudly, because that square wave is causing some saturation in that transformer. So let me get things powered up here, and I will show you how the output looks and the frequency. And then in the first video, I mentioned that there is a 600 volt tap on this main power transformer, and I didn't know if it was used or not. It seems like a very high voltage, for this inverter. There's nowhere does this output any kind of voltage like that. It is actually used, so I don't know the function, and if anyone has some ideas, please post them in the comments. So after we do this first test, I'll turn the inverter on its side, and I'll show you where that tap is connected. It seems unusual. I don't really know the design idea behind what they're doing with that 600 volts. So let me go ahead and switch on the main power supply right here. Get that on. And turn on the scope meter over here. So I have the output right here on this adapter cord. I'll plug that into the inverter, and it goes into a Y adapter back there. You can't quite see it. One side comes over to this 100 watt bulb just to give a little bit of a load on the inverter, and the other side goes over to test lead clips that are going into the scope meter. So the scope meter on the screen up here is going to show the voltage and the frequency. Alright, so here we go. Loud buzz and hum, as was seen in that first video. Kind of a noisy inverter, that's for sure. So let me get this plugged in right here. Okay, there we go. So let me zoom me in over here just a little closer so you can see the scope meter. Get that focused on there. So the scope meter, you can see the waveform definitely has not quite a sine wave. It's more of a, looks like a square wave that's rounded off, but it is very symmetrical, and you can see the ground reference is right through the middle where it says the midpoint right there where it says A. And this is the trigger point over there. And then right here you can see the voltage, 118 volts with a 100 watt load, so that looks very good. In the first video, that voltage was down a little bit, a little lower than the spec value, so nice to see that that came up. And look at that frequency, it's right on 60.19 hertz. It looks very, very good. It was a little bit low initially, so just took a slight adjustment on this circuit board, and again, that adjustment, move this over here, it's this adjustment right here, and it's very touchy, very sensitive. Didn't take much movement at all. So it's looking very good. The inverter is functioning very well. I actually ran it for quite a while, and the transformer gets quite warm, but seems to be okay. It never overheats or has any major problems. And the heatsink, although it gets warm on here, nothing excessive. So I ran it with a 300 watt load for quite a while, and I haven't put heavier gauge cables on the inverter to run more than 300 watts on it. But that's, as you saw in that first video, it draws quite a bit of current at 300 watts. All right, let me turn the inverter back off again here. This unplug, and I will show you one other thing here that I discovered. Quite a noisy inverter, that's for sure. So pardon the camera movement here. What I'm going to do is turn this on its side. I'm going to move this out of the way here. We don't need that anymore. Be very careful because this is live. In fact, just to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and turn that power supply off. So give it just a second here. It's bleeding down the voltage. There it goes. Don't want to take any chances here on having a problem. Move that over there. So what I've discovered is that if you look right here, I'm going to tip this back just a little bit just to focus up there. Basically getting this inverter completely turned upside down here. So this very large capacitor right here, that oval shaped capacitor, and it's quite long, it goes clear to the other side of the inverter, all the way down the side. That capacitor has almost 600 volts on it, and what I discovered is that one of the wires on this capacitor is ground, and the other wire comes right up here, and it comes around and it goes right to the 600 volt tap on the transformer. So basically that tap, it only has one wire on it, and it's just the one wire coming from the tap over to that capacitor. So they're essentially just putting this capacitor from the transformer 600 volt to ground. I'm not sure exactly why they're doing that. I don't really know what the point of that would be and why such a high voltage. Let me move this over here. I'll go ahead and power it up, and I'll just grab my voltmeter here and you can see that voltage. Just grab this here, get this turned on. So we're on AC volts. There, all right, so let me go ahead and get this turned back on here, and I won't put any load on the inverter. It doesn't need that right now. Okay, so it's turned back on again, and very carefully take a reading across this capacitor right here. Okay, and there it is. So you can see on the digital multimeter, 591.7 volts. Not something you'd want to come in contact with, that's for sure. So yeah, very high voltage on that capacitor. And again, I don't know what the purpose of that is. You know, why are they hanging a capacitor across that 600 volt tap? So if you have any ideas what the function would be, please post that in the comments. I'd be curious to see what some ideas on that might be. Alright, so if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you're enjoying the videos on this channel, please remember to subscribe. There'll be many more videos coming up in the near future. So as always, thank you for watching, take care, and goodbye for now.